What's up, fighters? It's your coach Eddie. Today I'm gonna show you how to set up a trap in boxing like a pro. This is next level stuff. It's not about just throwing punches, it's about outsmarting your opponent. Have you ever wondered how fighters like Lomachenko, Mayweather, Tank Davis, Canelo make their opponents run into punches? This is how. Let's dive into how to bait your opponent, how to outsmart your opponent, how to read their habits. So what is a trap in boxing? Well, I'm gonna put it like this. A trap is when you give your opponent an opening and they fall for the bait, and then you counter off of that. That's how you trap someone in boxing. It's all about being in control and having good timing. It's not about who hits harder or who's throwing the most powerful shot. It's about being patient, reading your opponent, seeing their habits. That's how you're going to bait them in. The first drill I want you to practice is the pull counter. I want you to lean in to bait your opponent in. You can even drop your hands a little bit so they can feel safer by throwing that jab. Once they throw that jab, you're going to do a quick pull back, counter with the cross, and then get out the way, open up the distance, you're out. You want to bait them in by leaning in and dropping your hands. Make them feel safe. Once they feel safe to let that jab go, pull back, counter, and then get out the way.
Mayweather showcased so much. He rolls with punches. Look at the way he makes them miss. I mean, it's clear.
This is perfect if you're fast and you have good timing and good reflexes. Try it in sparring and then do it in a real fight. Bait them in by leaning in. Once they feel safe and they throw that jab, pull back, counter, and then roll out. Especially if they're jab heavy. Just like I said, you got to read their patterns. You got to read their habits. If you see them that they're super jab heavy, they leave it out too long, perfect. Counter it all day. Bait them in. Once you feel that bait and they're falling for it, bang them, and then get out the way. Another great trap is throwing a couple of jabs to the body, making your opponent drop his hands. Once he drops that hand, you're going to fake the jab and come up top with the lead hook. Boom! So first, you got to control that distance. This looks perfect if your opponent is aggressive and you're fighting off of your back foot, right? You're fighting off your back foot. Your opponent is pressing you. Jab, jab, jab.
Continues to score here. He's been controlling this fight. Every angle.
But he's seeing Chico punches.
Down he goes again.
And that lead hook at the end is going to land every single time because that jab is going to make your opponent drop his hands. But you got to do at least 2 to 3 jabs. Then on that last one, boom, lead hook right in the chin. Bait them in with the jab. Another great trap that works perfect when you fight an aggressive fighter is read them coming in. When they come in, you're going to throw that check hook and you're going to get out the way. This works perfect if your opponent just keeps rushing in. Read that. Make them pay. What I like to do on the bags is kind of push it out a little bit. Time it coming in. Time it coming in. And then get out the way. And then just keep doing that around the bag. Throw a couple punches. Time it coming in. And then get out the way.
Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off the turnbuckle. This is the beginning of the end.
He won't let him off.
Mayweather was really good at this. As you guys can see, he did it to Ricky Hatton. It worked perfect. What he did in the beginning of the rounds was he was just baiting him in. He was dropping his hands. He was reading him. And then when Ricky Hatton thought he was safe, he rushed, bam, got hit with that check hook. And then get out the way. Get out the way. And then get out the way. Now, this next one is not really a trap, but it's a great way to outsmart your opponent to be one step ahead of him. Let's say your opponent has a really high guard and you can't find a way to punch around the guard. He has a really tight guard. What you want to do is move his hand down a little bit and then throw off of it. Boom! Boom! But remember, to set up a trap, it's all about having high IQ inside the ring. You got to read your opponent. You got to read their patterns. You got to see their mistakes. And you got to make them pay for that. Bait them in and then make them pay. If they fall for that bait, make them pay. Even Roy Jones did that. 2 hands behind his back to James Toney. And then, bam, he countered off of that.
That's when he got pinned there with some beautiful shots back at Tony.
Oh! Big left hook!
The style of the opponent or whatever.
Shane Mosley learned that last Saturday night.
He baited him in by having those hands behind his back. And then as soon as James Toney fell for that bait, bam. But that's it for today's video. Make sure you guys are training hard, training smart. See you in that next round.